Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday Talks with the Minnesota Association of Realtors. My name is Chris Galler. This session we're going to talk about next week's National Association of Realtors mid-year meetings and the legislative Hill visits and national legislation that affects realtors that we'll be advocating for. Across the state, realtors from many local associations will be attending the mid-year meetings. They're always held in Washington, D.C. And on Wednesday afternoon, we'll all be traipsing up to the Capitol to talk to our elected officials in Congress and state and federal Senator Amy Klobuchar. There's 5 main issues that we'll be lobbying for this year. The first one is move the housing initiative forward. That is, we need to keep the momentum in a number of areas, including most of Minnesota. We're starting to see a rebound. They're asking for a 3-prong attack there. The first being, let's restructure Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and let's make sure that they have funds going forward. I think everyone agrees that they've gone through a difficult time, but let's reshape them. Let's get them ready to keep loaning money out to consumers. That'll be the first one. The second one is to make permanent the FHA and GSE, which is government-sponsored enterprises, Fannie and Freddie, and make sure that the loan limits that they put in place last year will stay in place. Now, most of Minnesota isn't influenced by that. It's more West Coast and East Coast, but we need consumer confidence across the United States to be good so that the media reports are stronger. So we're going to help with that. The last one is the home buyer tax credit, and that's the $8,000, which runs out on December 1st. NAR has taken the position that that needs to be extended beyond December 1st of 2009 and extended perhaps an additional year or longer, and to make it available for all home buyers, not just first-time home buyers, but all home buyers. As you know, in the marketplace, we're selling a lot of first-time homes, but there's some reluctance, a little tendency not to have the move-up buyers. We need those move-up buyers to get ready to go. We need to sell properties, and this is a good way to incentivize that. The next one we'll be doing is working on preserving the mortgage interest deduction at the federal level. About 75% of all homeowners use the mortgage interest deduction. The President's administration has come out with a bill to try and limit that, and we've been working with Congress to try and make sure that that initiative doesn't go through. Right now, the budget bill does not include that mortgage interest, but we want to make sure that the federal officials understand that mortgage interest deduction is important back in Minnesota. The third issue is health care reform. That's a large expense for most Minnesotans that are self-employed. This bill would allow people to pool their resources across state lines. NAR has tried to come up with a number of health care programs, but it's always been thwarted by this inability to pool resources across state lines. States would still be able to regulate, but you'd be able to pool the same as a big company can pool their employees. We think that's the right way to go, and we're going to advocate so that you have lower health care premiums. The fourth issue is adopt reasonable energy efficiency standards and regulations. We're dealing with this in Minnesota as well, but one of the proposals at the federal level is that all homes, before they are sold, have to go through an energy audit. And then each of the homes will be labeled with how energy efficient the property is. This will devastate inner cities because many of those properties are not energy efficient just because of their age, not because of any fault. Just an older home is going to be less energy efficient than a newer home, and we're afraid some of the consequences of people labeling properties ahead of time as not being good values. Certainly people can come in, if they're buying a house built in 1910, they understand that if those are original windows, they're probably not as energy efficient as they are today. At the state level, we're also dealing with a bill that's very similar to that. So we want to make sure that they're aware at NAR that we're strongly opposed to labeling properties. And the last piece is one that will help our commercial members, but helping our commercial members also helps the jobs. And as you know, people can't buy a home if they don't have a job. And this is stabilizing the lending for commercial real estate. Right now, commercial real estate is starting to see the same downturn that residential real estate saw, most of it related to financing, meaning that people took out loans 4 or 5 years ago and now they go to refinance and those credit markets are frozen. We're going to assist in making sure that the legislators in Minnesota understand that we need people to have jobs so that they can buy houses and make stronger communities. With that, we'll report back to you next week when we get back from Washington, D.C. and let you know how all the meetings went. Thank you very much. We hope you have a great week.